This is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex C. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex C.
Here we go. It is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex C., a sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. Today, however, a little bit different. It is not me by myself. I've got a guest. I've always told everybody that I'm looking for sports fans to join the big broadcast, podcast, whatever you want to call it. I'm not even sure. I'm still learning as we do this, as everybody knows. But the thing is that not by myself today. If you want to be a guest, by the way, all you got to do is hit me on Facebook and Twitter at Yay or Nay Podcast, the address to both of the pages. And speaking of Twitter, real quickly, before I get into my guest and we get into the topics that I have at hand, I want to get into some of the Yay or Nay questions that have come back recently. Let's start off with this one here. Who is the league MVP? Now, I talked about this for a while. Kyle Murray, Lamar Jackson. Those are two probably the most proficient passers in the NFL currently right now to date. And a lot of talk on the national media has been in regards to really Lamar Jackson as being the MVP. I'm throwing in Kyler Murray in all honesty because I think he is definitely better than Dak Prescott. I think he's doing better than Dak Prescott. Of course, the national media will try and tell you otherwise. Different conversation, different show. We're not going to do that today. But here's what interesting. There's what came back that is interesting to me. Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson came split down the middle 50-50 in regards to who is the league MVP. So far, in regards to the fans, you guys are up in the air in regards to which one is actually the leading candidate for the MVP in Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. So 50-50 is where we are there. The other question that I had to ask was, because I hear this a lot. A lot of people are always talking about NFL games. What can they do to speed them up? Well, in my opinion, first of all, they're sped up too much. They go by too fast. But the question was, are NFL games too long? This one came back 67% to 33%. Nay, NFL games are not too long. So it makes me wonder why all these national guys keep saying that NFL games are too long when, in fact, the fans don't agree. 67% said no. Another one is, who's the best team in football? Of course, you keep hearing about the national guys talking about the Dallas Cowboys, how they're the best team in football, which again, and I'm not a Cardinal fan, but keep in mind they're undefeated. So that's why I have always said, if you're going to talk about who's the best team in football, obviously, whether you like them or don't like them, and I don't like them, I'm a 49er fan, but I got to give them the respect they deserve. The Cardinals are undefeated. Why would you not have the conversation in regards to the Cardinals possibly being one of the two best teams in the NFL? However, 100% of the fans that voted said the Dallas Cowboys are the best team in football. I disagree, but hey, you're the fans, you decide. Do NFL rules favor the offense too much? This is a conversation that's been going on for years, but now it's really getting bad, right? When you see quarterbacks already falling down and then somebody barely touches them, but they're already on the way down, you still get a roughing the passer penalty. This one came back, no surprise to me, 67% of the people that voted said yay, that the NFL rules favor the offense way too much, and I would have to wholeheartedly agree with that 100%. All right, meanwhile, without further ado, as I stated, I have a guest on today's big podcast, a.k.a. broadcast, depending on which one you want to call it. Go ahead and take a moment, introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your podcast, when you broadcast, where you broadcast at, and tell us a little bit about the concept of your show.
All right. Hello, guys. My name is Dale. I live in Phoenix. I got a podcast, Sports Behind the Mic. We're talking about all different types of sports as far as baseball, football, basketball, NCAA, NASCAR, UFC, golf, for those who do like golf, volleyball, Olympics, you name it, we'll probably talk about it.
So a lot more well-versed than me in that regards. So I told you prior to us, going on that I definitely wanted you to walk me through NASCAR. And I know you said we could do like basically a whole show on that, and perhaps we will go more in depth on the show. But let me ask you some of the basics, because again, I don't know anything really about NASCAR. My sister's a big fan. I've got family members that are big fans. I know that NASCAR has a ton of fans. I, again, watch races, don't necessarily understand what I'm watching. Talk to me about the point system. What is the point system when it comes to being a leader in regards to the season? And tell me about the season. How does the season work?
Well, I'm not too familiarized on the point system because they change it every year. But the whole standings is they go from February to November. That's
Okay.
that's their season. So they have, the Daytona 500, which is the big starting race, which is like an NFL opening game equivalent.
Okay.
And then they come here in November to the Phoenix Championship.
All right. So what about driver wise? Like, who are some of the biggest drivers that are currently in the field right now?
Oh, there's so many to name. You obviously got Kyle Busch, or Rowdy Busch, how everybody knows him in NASCAR world.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's his nickname because he talks a lot.
All right. Interesting. So in regards to, I know you said you cover a lot of sports. You even brought up volleyball and stuff like that. And I know you brought up golf. So like in regards to, let's move to another sport that, again, one that I'm learning. And I've often told people that listen to my podcast that I'm working to learn the sport, and that's hockey. Season just started, right? Opening night was Tuesday, I believe it is, right?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about who do you think is the odds-on favorite to go to the finals for hockey right now? If we were talking about preseason, what everybody's preconceptions are without them obviously dropping the puck and starting the season, who is expected to be in the finals at this point?
It's hard to say because there's like 86 games in a season.
Okay.
So it's very hard to determine on week one. The same thing like saying who's going to the Super Bowl on week one in the NFL.
Very true. Yeah, I agree.
Well, you got 16 weeks. You can have your whole team get injured, and then what?
Yeah, very true. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, because one of the things, I was talking about this on yesterday's podcast, actually, is that like, so when you're talking about, let's move over to the NFL really quickly because you brought it up. When you talk about the NFL, I've often said, look, you can make a top 5 list, but the thing you don't want to do is try and say this team is guaranteed to be a front runner to win the AFC or be a front runner to win the NFC, because again, there's too many variables, too many things that are going to happen. Plus, you have teams that get hot in the second half of the season. You have other teams that get injured. You have teams that lose quarterbacks, which obviously is the most important position, especially if you look currently right now at the Cleveland Browns. They're not going to have their starting quarterback tomorrow night in Thursday Night Football. So I would agree that it's too early in the season to say that anybody has separated themselves from anybody else. But I do make certain big, bold predictions. Like for me personally, the big, bold prediction I made in the preseason was about 2 or 3. Number one was I said Kansas City was not going to be a repeater as far as AFC champs moving on to the Super Bowl. And I also said Tampa Bay would not repeat and win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl. And I also said, and have often said, and will always say, because I stand behind it, that, Tampa Bay, them winning the Super Bowl last year was a fluke. I think anything that happened in football last year was kind of a fluke for the simple reason that, no fans in the stands. You had a lot of players that opted out. And without fans in the stands, there was no true home field advantage. And really, when you try, because I tried to watch it, I couldn't even watch football last year, to be honest. All you saw was, glorified scrimmages. That's really all they were. Glorified scrimmages. You can hear the guys laughing and joking and jawing at each other. But it didn't seem like they were playing hard. It was just like, again, glorified scrimmages. Matter of fact, glorified practices, if you will, because, again, it didn't seem to me like anybody was real trying that hard. What would you say that's different to what I'm saying about the NFL season last year?
Not much. It was pretty much like watching a script out of a movie. Like they pretty much gave you a script, says, "Oh, play football." Like hit the other team.
So when you say script, though, my question to you would be, because I often have heard this from other people. They say that isn't it a Hollywood ending that Tom Brady would leave the Patriots, go to the Buccaneers. You've got a season where there's no fans. It's almost a throwaway season. And then you get a Hollywood script where all of a sudden the team that is middle of the road goes on a winning streak. Tom Brady happens to be the quarterback of that team with a win streak. And it would be miraculous for him to go and be a first-time quarterback with a brand new team after 20 years, get to the Super Bowl, which ironically you're playing in your home stadium, and then be the first team in history to not only win in your home stadium, but to have a quarterback that went from one championship caliber team to bring your team to become championship caliber and win the Super Bowl. I mean, I have heard people say that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but I've heard people say it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree that the whole Brady train, it doesn't make any sense how you can go from, and that's two different atmospheres, you know. New England's a lot colder, a lot different than, you know, your beach atmosphere.
Right. Agreed. Weather, yeah, geologically, completely different. What about the thought process of it seeming like it's scripted? The way that Brady just happened to be the one to win and be the first one to win on a home field, which nobody's ever done before. And, you know, again, miraculously go from one team that's won titles to make another team all of a sudden win titles and allegedly be the team to beat this year. I don't agree with they're the team to beat this year, but what are your thoughts? I mean, did it feel like something's wrong somewhere? Like somebody scripted this somehow? Am I, going too far with the conspiracy? Again, not my conspiracy, one that was told to me, but am I giving too much weight to it?
No, I don't know. Brady's just, I don't know how the dude gets in it every year or somehow gets in every year. It doesn't make any sense on how he can just go from a team that he's been on 20 plus seasons and then go to a new team, new guys, new coaches, new faces, new atmosphere, and then all of a sudden you get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, a little odd.
When there's Larry Fitzgerald, who's only been to the Super Bowl once, but I think they lost.
Right.
The dude's played for how many seasons for the Arizona?
Right. No, completely understood. And then, when you look at last year, when you correlate basketball to football, and I correlate the two for the simple reason of I said often that when you're talking about the NBA Finals last year, we did not have, and ironically, you're wearing a cap that says NBA Finals on it, we did not have the two best teams in the NBA playing in the NBA Finals. This was the first time the basketball gods knocked out all the actual superstars from all the opposing teams on the Eastern and Western Conference and made it to where all the Suns and the Bucks had to do was walk their way in by staying healthy, and they would make it to the finals, and that's what happened. And we arguably had the two, out of all the playoff teams, the two worst teams that were in the playoffs make it to the NBA Finals. Although it was an entertaining one, we did not have the two best teams, and the best team obviously did not win because arguably there were plenty of other teams that should have won the NBA Finals. Do you agree with that, or do you think that watching the playoffs last year is normally how it goes in regards to people getting injured and watching two teams make it to the finals? Am I off base here?
I mean, I think if you played really good, you have a really good team base. Everybody gets along. They communicate. Anybody can make it to the playoffs or even the Super Bowl or any championship for that matter. It's all about communicating with your team.
Do you think the Suns were the best in the West?
I mean, they beat the Lakers. So
what about the circumstances involved with how they beat the Lakers, though? Because, arguably they were losing 2-1. Anthony Davis goes down. They were winning that game against the Suns as well. Anthony Davis goes down. Suns win game 4 and then move on to win the series when all you had left was LeBron James because no Anthony Davis. But are you saying, no, that doesn't matter, that the Suns, in fact, were the best in the West?
I think the Suns were best in the West. I mean, they have a lot of key players like Booker and the rest of the guys.
So you think I'm a little off base there. What about on the Bucks then? Let me ask you about the Bucks. Were they the best in the East, or was Lady Luck on their side? Again, I'm saying Lady Luck's on both sides. I'm saying both teams equally got to walk into the finals because the gods knocked down all the superstars that they were going against. But are you saying the Bucks were the best?
Yeah, the Bucks are all right. I mean, I wouldn't say they're the best, but they're not.
Go ahead.
They're not bad. I mean, they've had a good few seasons.
They've been pretty consistent in regards to that. What about the season now? Looking at it today, right? We're now in game 2. Last night we had the Bucks and the Nets, and then we had the Lakers and the Warriors. So after, I definitely want to talk about a couple of teams specifically, but if we talked about you were going to lay a bet on Vegas and make a prediction on who you thought was going to be in the NBA Finals, or better yet, who's going to win it all, who would you be laying your money down in Vegas on right now?
Probably the Phoenix Suns.
You think the Suns are going to make it back?
Just because they're a young team, they've been there last year. Obviously, they didn't win, but now they've been there, so they know the whole deal. I think they'll make it back.
So you're going to give them the fact that they got experience as a big feather in their cap and give them the ability to make it back from the Western Conference and get to the finals and win the title?
Yeah, as long as they stay healthy as well.
So here's my thing against the Suns, though. So, and again, keep in mind, born and raised in Phoenix, I am a Phoenix Suns fan, but I'm realistic. I believe I want to stay as realistic as possible. I don't want to be one of those guys who does a podcast and all you hear about is my favorite team being the best, rah. The Suns, arguably to me, are probably somewhere in between the 6th and the 8th seed coming out of the West. I don't see them going far in the playoffs, and I don't think they could win the title. My argument would be, you have a team that still is inexperienced. You still have an inexperienced coach, and you have an over-the-hill point guard who you're going to have to figure out how to do load management with, and he can't stay healthy in the playoffs, and he hasn't been able to stay healthy in the playoffs, Chris Paul, throughout his entire career. Plus, Chris Paul has a track record of getting on people's nerves and not being able to get along with people. The only reason why he got along with these guys is they're all young bucks. No egos. They're not getting paid. Nobody's told them they're great yet. Now they've been to the NBA Finals. I think that's going to change this year. You are going to have egos. You are going to have people who think they're good now because everybody's telling them they're good because they made it to the NBA Finals. And this is where Chris Paul struggles in regards to getting along with people. That's why DeAndre Ayton and everybody else not DeAndre Ayton, DeAndre Jordan, and everybody else that he's ever played with, including James Harden, have never gotten along with Chris Paul because, again, he tries to be the general, he tries to be the boss, and he tries to be the one that tells everybody what to do and when to do it. It hasn't worked out. That's why he's got kicked out of every market he's ever been in. So how do you see this team working cohesively, and how do you see them moving forward? Is Chris Paul the missing piece that the Suns needed to begin with?
I mean, possibly. I think they brought in Chris Paul more for experience in the NBA. I mean, yeah, his attitude is not a very, very good with people, but I think they brought him more in for experience because they know he can play ball. That's what they brought him in for. They didn't bring him in to be a people pleaser. They brought him in to play ball.
Okay, so you're saying veteran leadership, that's his role, and that's really what he was brought in to do. That's what he was brought in to be.
Yeah.
Okay, I can accept that. Moving over to the football real quickly, talking Arizona Cardinals real fast. Would you say then, however, because I've said a lot of these acquisitions were mistakes in regards to getting J.J. Watt and bringing in everybody else that they brought in because most of them are over-the-hill guys, past their prime. They don't have to pay them prime money. That's really the only reason why Arizona teams bring people in so they don't have to pay them prime money because they bring in marquee names that are past their prime. Chris Paul being an example, J.J. Watt being another example. But staying specifically with the Cardinals, do you believe the veteran leadership that they brought in is something that's a positive for the team, or do you think the team would be enjoying the success that they're enjoying now without all these veterans, or were these veterans the key to the success?
I think these veterans were key to success because J.J. Watt's a good prime example. He did a lot for Houston as far as the community and well as playing for the team. You know, when Hurricane Harvey hit over there in Houston, he raised quite a bit of money for the community.
Okay.
And I think he's a good guy to bring onto your team. Yeah, he's not in his prime. He's not young as he was, but he can still make plays. I mean, the Cardinals got 5 sacks and 2 fumbles against the Browns. So, I mean.
Do you think he's been productive for the Cardinals? Do you think he's been a difference maker on defense for the Cardinals? Or is he just kind of there, in your opinion?
Kind of both. Like, he's not as good as he once was when he was in Houston, but he's definitely got the veteran experience.
when I look at J.J. Watt, I don't see him putting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. I don't see him being a reason, and I don't see the Cardinals defensively putting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. Yes, they kind of got some on Sunday, but there's a lot of rhyme and reason to that. I mean, I think the Cardinals have been, the beneficiary of a lot of different circumstances. Again, you're going against the Cleveland Browns, who arguably are on the decline, and I have said this often, now that we've seen enough of a sample size, Cleveland is who they've always been, the team where the fans need to put the bags back on their heads because they're back to being what they always were. Baker Mayfield is not the big-time quarterback that everybody thought he was going to develop to be. He is a middle-of-the-road quarterback at best. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback worth $35 million a year. I think they might franchise tag him, but I think that would be a mistake too. I think it's time to move on and find another quarterback. When you got the talent that they have in the receiver core, and he can't get him the ball. And too many times on Sunday, they showed wide receivers that were wide open that would have scored touchdowns had he just gotten him the ball, and he never did. And he's supposed to be a guy, again, who's going to get paid, major money. I don't see it. I don't see him, and I don't see them being that good. And I see everybody the Cardinals have played so far, outside of the Rams, not really being anybody to jump up and down about that you beat. You played Tennessee first week of the season. I don't look at the first week victory as a big deal because, again, look at Tennessee now. I don't think the Cardinals would beat them. They beat the Rams. That was a game the Cardinals were up for, and the Rams weren't up for it. I think they were looking past the Cardinals. I don't think they would do that now. They beat the 49ers, but that wasn't a very good victory either. A backup quarterback, and the Cardinals still almost lost that game. No running back room for the 49ers. Every starting running back injured. So the entire running back room is out. Injuries on the defensive line, and you're missing your starting quarterback. First start for a rookie quarterback. You barely beat him, and you were within basically inches of losing that game. And I haven't seen anything really that makes me jump up and down about the Cardinals. I'll give them credit for being the best team with the best record currently. But again, mostly circumstantial. I don't know that they can sustain it. You think I'm nuts?
No, I think the Cardinals, they're just making the right plays at the right time. But I think it's definitely going to be a challenge when the Packers come to town this week. Because Packers are 6-1, I believe, right?
5-1, yeah. They're
5-1.
So how did you feel? Let me ask you this. How did you feel? We can talk about the Packers in a minute, but how did you feel about them when they were going into the game against Cleveland? What did you think about Cleveland before the game started? And, how did you feel about Cleveland after the game ended? And how did you feel about the Cardinals before and after?
We all know about the Browns. The Browns are a team that you go to retire to play with.
Okay.
That's where you go to finish your career in Cleveland.
Okay. I can agree with that. I mean, again, they're the ones that I said the fans need to go back to putting the bags on the heads. What about the Cardinals? Before the game, how did you feel? After the game, how did you feel?
I mean, I knew it was going to be a tough game because the Browns they got some key players, but I think with the Cardinals, how young they are with Murray, and then you got J.J. Watt, you got Larry Fitz. I mean, you got a bunch of key players, key veterans that can get the young guys in shape. I think that's where it comes down to, is getting the young guys in shape.
Where do you see them finishing?
I mean, I think they'll eventually lose, sadly. As to who, that's still undecided. That's undecided until we see who they lose to. I mean,
do you have them in the playoffs, though?
Yeah, I see them. As long as they can keep their key players healthy, I see them making the playoffs.
How deep do they go? First round, second round, NFC Championship, all the way to the Super Bowl and lose. Where do you see them going?
Probably the NFC Championship.
Do they win or lose?
They'll probably lose. They'll probably lose by a field goal.
So, in regards to the NFL, then, who's your favorite team?
Definitely the Green Bay Packers.
Tell me a little bit about the Packers, why you like them, and why they've been so successful this year, considering all of the off-the-field problems they had in the offseason. Tell me about the Packers and why they're having success.
The Packers I've liked because Well, my aunt was a Packers fan, and she recently died, so I had to go out to her funeral. So I pretty much started liking the Packers because of her. Before I liked the Cardinals and the Steelers for AFC and NFC, but
Okay.
now it's pretty much leaned towards the Packers in her
Okay.
memory.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting. And how do you think first of all, how are they going to do against Cardinals?
It's gonna be a battle. They're definitely gonna have to keep Aaron Rodgers standing. That's gonna be their downfall, is keeping him standing.
So you don't think the offensive line is going to be able to hold up against the Cardinal defensive line?
I don't think so. I mean, the Packers were just struggling this past week to keep Rodgers up.
And that was against the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears got him a few times, especially the first half of the game was a real struggle keeping for them communicating. They
Who do you
couldn't
think has the
run.
better defense between the Packers and the Cardinals? Who would you say has the better defense?
Cardinals.
And if you were talking about offense to offense, Cardinals versus Green Bay, who has the better offense?
Packers.
Okay, so now let's talk coaching staffs. Who has the better coaching staff, Cardinals or the Packers?
I don't know. Both coaches are fairly young still.
Okay, well, if you were a general manager and you're hiring, and those are your only two candidates that you could hire because they're the only ones available on the market, which one are you hiring and why? I mean, are you going to make an argument for Cliff Kingsbury? Are you going to make an argument for Green Bay's coach? You know, which one and why?
I don't know, because that one's a hard decision because they're both two different atmospheres. You know, you got one that's really cold and then you got one that's really warm.
Which style of offense do you like better? Is it Green Bay style? Is it Arizona style? Let me ask you that.
Green Bay style, I think. So I'd probably hire the Green Bay's coach.
Okay, so Matt LaFleur would be your coach because you like this. And I would agree. If you like the Green Bay side in regards to how they play ball offensively, then yeah, I would say arguably you would need to hire Matt LaFleur without a doubt. And I'm not a fan of the air raid, and I'm not a fan of Cliff Kingsbury, and I don't think the Cardinals are winning because of Cliff Kingsbury. I think they're winning in spite of Cliff Kingsbury. I think that Kyler Murray is the only reason why they're winning. It's a bunch of broken plays. You can't tell me that offensively, you know, the strategy is have Kyler run behind the line of scrimmage for 18 yards, find a wide open receiver, and chuck the ball as far as he can and hope it's DeAndre Hopkins out jumping the defender to grab the ball. And that's a plan that they come up with in the office when they're sitting there putting together their plays. I mean, there's no way you can tell me that that's the way you do it. I mean, it looks like something out of, Madden when you're playing Madden on a game system. So I just don't see it. And I don't see anything strategically to me offensively that's done by the Cardinals that really is a game plan that's put together. Sports wise, let me ask this general question. What's your favorite sport? Is it football? Is it basketball? Is it NASCAR? Is it hockey? I know you said you do volleyball and you do golf. I mean, which one do you follow and watch the most?
I would say baseball, football, and NASCAR. But if it had to come down to one, right?
Right, just one.
I would say NASCAR.
NASCAR. How much time do you think you spend a week watching NASCAR or paying attention at least to highlights and what's going on in NASCAR?
I watch the races every weekend because that's the only time when they race. They race the big races on Sundays. You got your Xfinity on Saturdays, and then when the trucks are running, then you got the trucks on Friday.
Oh, so it's like, okay, so it's a full weekend of racing. Okay. So you never miss a race then? You basically watch them all?
If they're being televised. Usually the truck races they usually aren't televised sometimes.
Not even on apps?
No, I don't have the apps. I mainly watch the Cup Boys because that's where the big stars are.
And what about team-wise? Your favorite team in basketball is?
I'd say the Phoenix Suns just because I grew up, in the Phoenix area.
Favorite player? All time, not current, but all time.
I would say Shaquille O'Neal.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So what about let me ask you this in regards to baseball. So you know about the bad call that was made in regards to the game 5 for the San Francisco Giants and the LA Dodgers. I mean, I have been an advocate that these referees and these umpires, both in the NFL and Major League Baseball, need to be reprimanded, sanctioned, fired, fined. Something has to happen. There doesn't seem to be any repercussions in regards to them making these bad and egregious calls. And in football, it seems to me that, a lot of games are being determined by the referees, not by the actual players. Am I off base? Am I crazy?
Oh, no, I agree with you because I shared an image with you earlier. So,
yeah, I saw the image you sent. That was pretty funny, actually. So, I mean, what do you think needs to happen, though, to these refs and these umpires? I mean, I'm an advocate for anything discipline-wise taking place, and maybe I'm going too far with the firing, maybe, suspending, fining, making them go through, if for a lack of a better term, retraining. What do you think needs to happen to these guys? Do they get
I mean, right? If an NFL player or baseball player can be sent down because they're not performing, right? An umpire or ref should be done the same way. If they're not performing to their job standards, they should be sent down, retrained, or even fired.
Do you think the leagues will ever get to the point to where they actually do that? Are they ever going to feel the pressure of the fans and actually do that? Or do you think, I'm just basically hoping for something that's not going to happen?
Probably hoping for something that's not going to happen because look how many fans watch the sport. None are really taking action on the refs or umpires.
And isn't it interesting that, you talk about refs and umpires because we're talking about it now. We're talking about no repercussions for them. Yet Ben Simmons got sent home for not participating the way that Philadelphia wants him to. What are your thoughts on that? What do you know about that situation? And what are your thoughts on Ben Simmons, the Sixers? Should he stay? Should he go? Should they trade him? Should they keep him? Is he going to even play if they try to keep him? What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
I mean, the dude's got a contract, right? You're there to play. If you want out, you just demand a trade. Like you talk to your agent, you and your team and your agent try to work out a deal to get you out of there. If you're not happy, there's no point in trying to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to show up to practice. Like that's childish. That's high school level. Like, come on, you have a contract. You're there to work.
And I think he still has like 4 years left on his contract, I believe it is. But then the question is, though, but if he's unhappy and he has already demanded the trade and it doesn't look like there really are any takers, right? I mean, it's not like I don't believe, in my opinion, from what I've seen, what I've heard, it isn't like the Sixers didn't try to trade him. I mean, who wants to take on a guy with, ball handling problems in the fourth quarter because he's going to immediately just dish it off because he doesn't want to get fouled because of how horrible he is at the free throw line. And that does make him a liability in the fourth quarter. When you have a guy who's a liability in the fourth quarter, it doesn't matter what he could do for you during quarters 1 through 3. If he's a liability in the fourth quarter, if you can't make free throws, again, put yourself in the general manager's shoes. Would you pick him up? Would you be interested in him? Granted, he's great. We all know what he can do. But in the fourth quarter, we know what he can't do. Would you pick him up?
No, I wouldn't pick him up because he reminds me a lot of like Chris Paul, like we were saying earlier. He's got an attitude that he's the show, he's the one guy, and it's nobody else, right? Sports is a team thing. You play as a team. You go out there as a team. If one of you gets hurt, you go down as a team.
So for as long as Ben Simmons has been in the league, do you think that he's actually a team player? I mean, or is he more of an ISO individual player? Which one do you think he falls into category-wise?
He's more of an individual player. I don't think he's a team player. He's more of a one-man show that tries to go out there and do it himself.
So are there any teams where you think that actually works?
California, Lakers.
So you think you go to the Lakers or the Warriors?
Yeah.
Which one do you think would be the best fit for him? Would it be the Warriors or would it be the Lakers?
Probably the Warriors because Lakers are already pretty well stacked with, James and them. So
One final thing, and then I'll let you go. But one final question in regards to the NBA, and since we're talking about the Lakers, because I'm curious to get your take on this. In regards to the Lakers, a lot of national guys, media-wise, have said that the Lakers are one of the odds-on favorites to make it to the NBA Finals and win. I've said no, they're not. I don't know how you could say that. You got Russell Westbrook, who's an ISO player, not a team, guy. You got LeBron James, who's aging, and I'm sorry, he's not one of the top 2 players in NBA anymore. He's more like, somewhere between top 5, top 7. And then you've got a bunch of old guys who, let's face it, they're all going to be on IR for the most part of the year. And if they're not, they're going to be out of breath with oxygen masks on the side of the, street, not even in the building because they got to finish their oxygen before they can get inside the arena. So that's my opinion on them. But am I wrong? Do you think the Lakers, in fact, can make it to the NBA Finals? I know you said earlier that you believe the Suns could make it to the finals, but let's just say the Suns cannot make it. Are the Lakers, in your opinion, the next best team in the West?
No. Lakers are they got a bunch of older guys, which is good for experience, but like you said, there's a lot of problems with the Lakers first before they got it fixed, before they even make it to the playoffs. There's a lot
What
of
do you
things.
think is the first thing they need to address?
Probably playing as a team, keeping their guys healthy. Those are the 2 key things. Because, like I said, playing a sport's a team thing. It's not a one-man show.
What about Frank Vogel, coaching-wise? Is he going to be able to coach all these different egos? I mean, really, there's no other word to use outside of, is he going to be able to coach all these egos? Is he going to be able to put them all on the same page? And do you think, Vogel's going to have the ability to be able to put them all on the same page game plan-wise? Or is it going to be a situation where he's constantly fighting with LeBron in regards to what, in fact, they are actually going to do?
It's going to be difficult to watch because we all know James is hard-headed. So is Westbrook. So I think that's where the issue comes in when you have too many veteran guys on one team, is that a lot of them are hard-headed and they've had a lot of coaches over the years coach them otherwise. And that's why I think earlier talking about football is why they got J.J. Watt, is for the veteran, not so much to come in here and be the star player. But back to basketball, it's going to be difficult to watch to see if he can coach them. I mean, it's like coaching 12-year-olds, basically.
So, in regards to LeBron James, does he seem like he's somebody who's actually even coachable? Like, go all the way back to his rookie year to now. Do you think he's actually somebody who's ever been coachable, and is he currently coachable, or is he just kind of a guy who's going to just, run and do his own thing? I mean, because there's been a lot of different stories on it. Obviously, I'm not an insider, so I don't have all that inside dirt. But do you think he's coachable? Do you think he follows a coach's lead, or does he kind of command the respect of being the coach on the floor?
I think he's more the coach on the floor. I mean, don't get me wrong, James is good, but like you said, he's not the best in NBA anymore. There's better younger guys who are competing at his level. I think his prime's over. It's time for him to settle down somewhere, either stay with the Lakers or find a team somewhere and just retire with.
How many more years do you think he has?
At least within the next 3.
All right.
I think
Go ahead.
I think either he's gonna I don't know. It's hard to say what could happen.
No, understood. Well, Dale, I thank you very much for your time. But again, plug your podcast. Tell everybody where they could find it, when it airs. Give them all the information.
Yeah, so I'm with Sports Behind the Mic. Right now we're on Twitter, Facebook, all the same name. We haven't come up with airtime yet when we'll go live, but that'll be coming up. You can find us that info on Twitter, Facebook, and stuff. And we're also on Anchor, so that's another one where you'll hear us on.
And how many episodes do you guys have up currently?
Right now, none, just because we just started brand new.
Okay. So sometime within the next week, you'll be announcing your launch then, your official launch?
Yeah, we'll have an episode hopefully, and within the week and a half, hopefully.
All right. And then really quickly, one more time, just announce the address to your Twitter and your Facebook.
All right. Facebook is Sports Behind the Mic, and Twitter is you can do sports_behind to find us on Twitter.
All right, cool. Well, I thank you very much for your time, Dale, man. It's been a pleasure. And we'll definitely do this again and have that show about NASCAR. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Have a great day, man. And again, I thank you very much for your time, brother.
All right. Thank you.